Hello, Sunbeamers. How are you? I hope you all are fine. Today we are beginning a new chapter of science, that is pollination. That is pollination. Okay, so let's begin the chapter pollination. So, before starting pollination, we have to learn certain terms. We have to learn certain terms. So, first term is your flowering plants. Flowering plants. What are flowering plants? Plants that bear flower. Plants that bear flower are called as flowering plants. Okay. Now, inside that flowering plant, so before I want to tell you that you should have your hibiscus rosa flower, or in Hindi it is said as good Raja flower, good Raja flower, or in Odia we see as Mandar flower. That should be there with you so that it will be easy for understanding. So, flowering plants means plants that bear flower, plants that bear flower. Now, the flower produce pollen grains. What are that pollen grains? We will learn. What are pollen grains? Pollen grains. What are that pollen grains? So small grains produced by yellow flowers. You must have seen hibiscus flower. Okay, you catch it in your hand and you have seen yellow bodies. Yellow bodies you have seen. Okay, above that stalk, above that stalk, you have your flower, the petals. Above the petals, you must have seen that long style. Okay, beside the style you see small filaments are there, and there you see yellow bodies which are called as pollen grains. So they are produced by adult flowers or grown flowers. Okay, small grains, they are basically yellow in color in your hibiscus rosa. Okay, hibiscus flower. Pollen grains are produced by the male plant. It is going to the female plant by various ways. It is going to the female plant by various ways. Okay. So the from the male plant, the pollen grains are moved to the female plant, and this is called your pollination. This overall process is called your pollination. After pollination, what happens? The flower. See, first what happens? Diagram with diagram I can explain you with a short diagram. From the male plant, this is the male plant. Male plant has pollen grains. These are the pollen grains. Okay, they are usually yellow in color, so I have to show it in yellow. So these are the pollen grains. By different agents, they are moving to the female plant. The female plant. Suppose I write F for the female plant. Okay, these pollen grains are moving, and this is called your pollination. This is called your pollination. Movement of pollen grains from male part to the female part as pollination, and after pollination the flower becomes fruit. The flower becomes fruit. The flower becomes fruit. This is fruit. Okay, which has the fruit has seeds. Fruit has seeds in them. The fruit has seeds. Okay, and again these seeds are carried away by different agents to different places. This is all about pollination. Okay, now we will discuss about the structure of a flower. Very important, the structure of a flower. Okay, the structure of a flower. You see this diagram is very important. So you take that hibiscus rosa in your hand, and when I am doing that labeling, so please take care. And according to that, you do all the labelings. Okay. So first, important parts of a flower. Four important parts of a flower. We have four important parts: stamen, petal, sepal, and pistil. This is called your pistil. It's not written here, but I will write it here. It's called your pistil. Okay, pistil. There are four important parts: stamen, petal, sepal, and pistil. So first you see sepal. First is sepal. Sepals are the green leaves structure, green leafy structure present above the stalk. This is the stalk. This is the stalk. Okay, or you can say above the stalk we have the sepal. Okay, green leafy structure. Okay, this is the sepal. There are green leafy structure present above the stalk. I hope you all have seen this one. They protect the bird. This sepal, they protect the bird. You see bird is here. They protect the bird and also provide nourishment. Also provide nourishment. Nourishment means khana. They prepare food for the flower. Okay. They prepare food for the flower. Now the next part is your petal. You see colored one, you may have a red hibiscus flower or a yellow hibiscus flower. So this colored part is called your petals. Okay. Okay. And what is the function of petal? Function is attraction. Okay. They attracts the insects. They attracts insects. Attracts insects and makes the flower beautiful. Petals makes the flower beautiful. Now next is your stamen. Stamen is the male part of the flower. Okay, stamen is the male part of the flower. Okay, this is the male part. Stamen is the male part of the flower. Stamen has two parts. Okay, stamen has two parts, anther and filament. Anther and filament. Okay. What is filament? Long stalk-like structures you must have seen arising from this style. You see above that, below that stigma, this is stigma. Below stigma, you may have seen long stalk-like structures arising from that style, or it may arise from this base also. Okay, which has a bag-like swollen end. Bag-like swollen end called anther. This bag-like swollen end is called anther. Okay, and pollen grains. We have read pollen grains. Pollen grains are produced in these anthers. Pollen grains are produced. Pollen grains are produced in these anthers only. Pollen grains are produced in this anther. Okay. And the male part of the flower together is called androecium. This is a very important term. Androecium. What it is called? Androecium. 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 Okay. The male part is called androecium. Now let's move to the female part. Female part have three main structures. Three main structures: stigma, style, and ovary. Stigma, style, and ovary. Okay. Stigma, style, and ovary. This swollen base, you may see there must be a swollen base. Okay, in the hibiscus rosa flower, which is called as ovary. Which is called as ovary. And this ovary has small structures inside it, which is called as ovules. Ovules. Small structures are there inside the ovary. It is called as ovules. And from the ovary, a long stalk-like structure, a long stalk arises from the ovary. This is called what? Style. This is called style. And above the style, a swollen sticky end is present called as stigma. This swollen sticky end is called stigma. Okay, pollen sticky end is called stigma. Okay, the style ends at stigma. Now there, the pollen grains coming from the male flower reaches the stigma of the female flower. Here the pollen grains will come and attach themselves. Pollen grain will come and attach, land in the stigma. The function of stigma is provides, function of stigma is provide surface, provides surface for pollen landing. Provide surface for pollen landing. Okay, stigma provides surface for pollen landing. So location and function of stigma is very important. Okay, location is and at the end of style. Location is at the end of style. Function is provide surface for pollen landing. And as male flower is called as androecium, female flower is called as gynoecium. Female flower is called as gynoecium. Gynoecium. Androecium, gynoecium. These two terms you have to remember. This is all about the structure of the flower. Again, I want to tell you, see, flower has four main parts. Sepal, petal, stamen, and pistil. Okay, sepal is the green leafy-like structure. Okay, present at the bottom of the flower. They protect the bud. They protect the bud. I have not written here the function. Protect bud. Protect bud. Okay. Sepal protect the bud. Next is your petal. Petal are the colored part of the flower. They attracts insects. Attracts insects and make the flower beautiful. Next is your male part. Male part is stamen. Stamen has two parts, anther and filament. Anther and filament, function of anther is they have produce pollen grains, and stamen is also called as androecium. Next is your pistil. Pistil has three parts: ovary, style, and stigma. Ovary is the swollen base which has ovules inside it. It has ovules inside it, and above that ovary a stalk arises called as style. At the end of the style, we have a swollen end of the style called as stigma. It provides surface for pollen landing. You can take a screenshot of this photo. It provides surface for pollen landing. Okay. And pistil is called as gynoecium. Pistil is called as gynoecium. And also we say carpel. For pistil, we say it a name called carpel. Pistil or carpel. You can say two names. For female part, we have three names: pistil, carpel, and gynoecium. Okay. Now we will learn about unisexual flower and bisexual flower. Okay. Unisexual flower and bisexual flower. First is your unisexual flower. What do you mean by unisexual flower? Unisexual flower means flower having one part, either the male part or the female part. Okay. In one flower, you will have only one part, either male or female. Definition is of unisexual flower: flowers having either male part means what? Stamen or androecium, or female part. They have only one part, either male part or female part. Okay, this is your pistil. These are unisexual. Example, example, example is very important. Your example is your maize. See, I have given a photo of a maize plant. Maize and cucumber as the examples of unisexual flowers. So male and female part are found on separate flower. You see here picture. This is your male part. This is your female part. They are present on separate flowers. Okay, they are present on separate flowers. So these they are unisexual flowers. But you are having hibiscus rosa. Okay, it is a bisexual flower. It is a bisexual flower. Okay, it is a bisexual flower. See hibiscus rosa photo I have given. It is a bisexual flower. Why it is a bisexual flower? Because both male and female part are present in the same flower. Both male and female part, both stamen and pistil. Stamen means male part, pistil means female part. Both stamen or pistil are present in single flower. Single flower. It is your bisexual flower. Example, what are the example? Hibiscus. Hibiscus is one of the example. Morning glory. Morning glory flower is also one of the example. This much you have to remember. Understood? Unisexual flower, bisexual flower. You see here, this part is your stigma. This is your style. And here inside that you have ovary. This is your yellow part, anther. This is your anther, and filaments are also there. They have pollen grains. This is a bisexual flower. Both male and female are there. Now we will learn about pollination. Now we will learn about pollination. Pollination, I have given you a gross idea, but we will learn about pollination and its types. So what happened? Definition of pollination you have to write. Transfer, sorry, pollen grains are transferred from anther of stamen to stigma of pistil, and this is called as pollination. From anther of stamen to stigma of pistil, and this is called pollination. So for pollination we require agents. We require what? Agents. So what are that agents? For pollination, we require agents. We require agents. So what are that agents? It may be water, it may be wind, okay? Water, wind, insects, okay? Animals, okay? Animals also can be the uh, agents for pollination. But in your course, we have only two things: wind pollination and insect pollination. So before going to the types of pollination, we have to read how pollen grains are produced. So I am giving you a short diagram how pollen grains are produced. This is your anther. Okay. Okay, this is your anther. So anther have four bags. Like this, four bags are present in the anther. Okay. Detailed structure you don't have in your course. Just a little bit I will make you. Okay, here your pollen grains are produced. Here you have your pollen grains. These are your pollen grains. Okay, it's a small dotted like structure. How the pollen grains will come out? The pollen grains will grow in size and it opens. The anther opens and the pollen are released. Dehiscence occurs. The term is called as dehiscence, but you don't have that word in your course. Just for your knowledge, this wall of the anther or the anther matures, anther splits and pollen grains are released. Anther splits and pollen grains are released. So this is the way how pollen grains are produced. Now for different types, we have two types of pollination. Okay, agents, wind and insect we have to read, but before reading that, we have to read the two types of pollination. What are that? First is your self-pollination. Self-pollination. This is a new concept for you, but you will understand. Don't worry. Self-pollination. What is self-pollination is? Pollen is transferred from anther of one flower to stigma of another flower of same plant. Of same plant. So little bit I will increase the text size. Okay. So from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. Suppose I am drawing a plant here. Suppose I am drawing a plant here. So this is a plant. Okay. It has different leaves are there. Here leaves. One leaf I will draw. Here I will draw two flowers. This is your flower one and this is your flower two. Okay. Here I will draw a stamen. This is your stamen. And here you are having your anthers. Okay, here your anthers are there. And here, okay. So there was some problem in net. So again, I have to say, okay, again I have to, definition you must have written, diagram I will draw. Only the diagram I will draw for self-pollination. So this is one flower. This is one flower. Here one flower is there. 1 minute. Here you have one flower. Okay. This is one plant. Here you have another flower. Okay. Now, here we have one. Here we have one. This is the other styles. Now here anther is there. Here we have anther. Okay. Here we have anther. Here we have stigma. This is stigma. So pollination means what? Self-pollination means anther of one flower and stigma of another flower of the same plant. So pollen grains will come from here to here. Okay, just from here to here, the pollen grains will come, and it is called your self-pollination. It is called self-pollination. Now, next is your cross-pollination. Understood? Self-pollination, I think you have understood. The next is your cross-pollination. Okay. Again, if you want, I will tell self-pollination. I will tell self-pollination means the transfer of pollen from anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. You see, one plant. I have not exchanged the plant. The plant is one, but just I have changed the flower. Different flowers are there, but the plant is only one. You have the only one plant. The self-pollination. Now, if I will draw cross-pollination, definition I have to write about cross-pollination, transfer of pollen from anther of one plant, anther of one plant to stigma of flower of another plant, another same plant. Okay, is called your cross pollination. Okay, anther of one plant to stigma of another plant. Suppose we are having two plants. Suppose we are having two plants, two different plants. Okay, if I have this one, yes. If I will explain you, see, this one you see, this structure is very easy to understand. Suppose this is one plant, plant one, and this is your plant two. This is your plant two. So from one plant, these pollen grains are taken. One plant, pollen grains are taken by this insect, pollinator, insect, and another plant on the stigma, all are landed, all are deposited. This is called your cross pollination, but they are of same kind. This is also hibiscus rosa flower. This is also hibiscus rosa flower. So same plant. Another same plant, another same plant, not another same kind plant. Another plant of same kind. So understood, not the same plant. Plants are different, but it is another plant of same kind. So definition, if I rectify, transfer of pollen from anther of one plant to stigma of flower of another plant of same kind. Okay, this is the rectified definition. This one you have to write in our examination. So 3 points you have to remember: anther of one plant, stigma of another plant, same kind. These 3 points you have to remember for cross pollination. Now we will learn about insect pollination. Insect pollination. Insect pollination. See, same picture I have given for insect pollination. So what happened? For insect pollination, the flower should be bright colored, so that it will attract insects. So bright colored flowers must be there. Bright colored petals must be there. So as petals gives beautiful, makes the flower beautiful, and the flower produce a sweet liquid called nectar. Called nectar. So this nectar, the insect come to the flower to feed this nectar. Insect comes to the flower to take this nectar. So while taking nectar, some pollen grains will stuck on these bodies. Some pollen grains will attach to these bodies while taking nectar. They will take the nectar, some pollen grains will go and they will move to another plant for taking nectar. So they will make all the pollen grains on the stigma and the flower will get pollinated. Okay. This is all about your insect pollination. The 2 things you have to remember: bright colored petals must be there to attract the insect, and liquid, it must secrete a liquid called nectar, because this pollination, this pollinator bee, this insect comes to the flower to feed this nectar and takes the pollen grain and deposits to the next flower. Now, last concept is your wind pollination. Example, you may say hibiscus, okay, hibiscus rosa. Now is your wind pollination. Wind pollination. Okay, next, last concept, wind pollination. Wind pollination means pollinated by the wind. They are pollinated by the wind. Pollinated by wind. Wind is the agent. So for wind pollination, they are small. Small flowers are there because the pollen grains has to be light to be so that it will be carried out by the wind. Wind से निकली ये कुछ कम वजन का होना चाहिए ना, जिससे आके wind एक झोंके में सब pollen grains को ले जाएगा. Okay, and gets deposited on the stigma of the flower. Flower के stigma में इसको हम लोग deposit कर देंगे. So nectar is not produced. Nectar production is not required. Production is not required. Nectar production is not required for a wind pollinated flower. Now some extra things you have after pollination. See, this is all about wind pollination. After pollination, what happens? After pollination, what happens? After pollination, sepals, petals, stamens all fall off and ovary swells. After pollination, sepals, petals all fall off and ovary swells. Ovary will grow in size. Okay. Why ovary grow in size? So that it will make fruit. So that it will make fruit. Ovary swells. Okay. So that it will make fruit. So fruits are of many types. Fruits are of many types. We'll learn in the next chapter. But for your details, I'm telling you, it may be fleshy fruit like your mango. Fleshy like your mango. Okay. You may get a short question. Okay. Or dry fruit. Dry like your pea. Pea is a dry fruit. Bean is a dry fruit. Okay. So it can also have many seeds. So seeds, fruit have seeds. So one seeded fruit, you tell me, one seeded fruit is your mango. You have seen mango, a long, a very thick seed is there, and many seeds. Many seeds seed is pomegranate. This is the important point you have to remember. Pomegranate. Okay. So for today this much. We'll meet in the next class with a new topic. So stay tuned. Sorry for the disturbance in the class. Please like and subscribe. Thank you.